Our next story is from Israel, which remains on the edge. Tensions are rising along the Gaza Strip. There are recurring attacks in Tel Aviv, and Jerusalem is in the grip of unrest. I'll start with Gaza. On Wednesday night, Palestinian militants fired a volley of rockets into Israel. Who was behind this attack? Hamas, the biggest militant group in Palestine. What was the trigger? No one knows, although some say it was the result of the recent clashes between Israelis and Palestinians. Remember, on the 11th of April, Hamas had warned Israel that if the unrest in Jerusalem did not stop, it would unleash attacks on the Jewish state. Listen to this.
الشعب الفلسطيني قرر المواجهة حتى رحيل هذا الاحتلال، كما أن الشعب الفلسطيني يحاول أن يعد العدة ويراكم القوة من أجل معركة التحرير الكاملة. على العدو الصهيوني أن يعد العدة والخطط للانسحاب والرحيل لأننا قادمون.
We are coming, warned Hamas. This week, it has executed the warning and its actions have not gone unanswered. During Thursday midnight, Israel retaliated. It launched airstrikes on Gaza to send a message to Palestinians. It apparently targeted a military post and a tunnel complex, which Israel says contained raw chemicals for rocket engines. Reports say this was the biggest escalation since the 11-day war last year. And from the looks of it, it's only set to get worse. Courtesy, the unrest in Jerusalem. For the last 3 weeks, it has been witnessing violent protests, clashes and attacks. The flashpoint came last Friday when the violence reached the al-aqsa mosque, a site revered by both Jews and Muslims. Last Friday, over 150 Palestinians were left injured in a violent face-off with the Israeli security forces. Today, something similar happened. There was violence at the al-Aqsa compound. The Palestinians clashed with the Israeli police. Over 31 people were left injured. 14 were taken to the hospital. 2 of them had serious injuries. What was the trigger? Like always, the answer depends on who you ask. Israeli police saying the Palestinians attacked first, that they hurled rocks and fireworks towards the Western Wall where a Jewish ceremony was underway. The Palestinians saying the attack started only after the Israeli police blocked worshippers from entering the mosque. They say some worshippers were arbitrarily stopped at checkpoints, and this apparently led to violence.
There is no ease. It's a lie. There is no ease. They only announced in media outlets, but in reality they banned women and elderly people because they don't have permits.
As you know, the Israeli forces set up more than 100 roadblocks on the way to al-Aqsa compound. They reinforced security at checkpoints and blocked our scout members, even though they have permits from the occupation force to be able to serve fasting people.
So where are things headed? It's tough to say. It's been more than 3 weeks and the violence has not stopped. Almost every Friday there are clashes followed by protests and eventually attacks. This is followed by an Israeli retaliation. It tightens restrictions further, cracks down on protesters and unleashes rocket attacks. It has become an endless cycle of sorts. The United Nations has issued a statement. It says it is deeply concerned with the developments, that if tensions are not resolved in the days ahead, the situation could spiral out of control. The Prime Minister of Israel says he is trying his best to diffuse tensions. In fact, in a recent interview, he went on to state that when Palestinians don't attack, Israel has no issues with them. The Palestinians say such statements are hogwash, that Israel's actions speak otherwise. They accuse Israel of trying to curb their religious freedom. They complain about unwarranted restrictions on them during Ramzan and call Israel's security checks draconian. So getting back to the question, where are things headed? From the looks of it, the situation seems similar to 2021. Around the same time last year, the tensions erupted and led to an all-out confrontation. Going by how the situation is getting worse this time as well, we might just see a rerun of 2021. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.